The human heart often equates God's plan with a linear path of prosperity, comfort, and the preservation of our most cherished relationships. We build our lives on the foundation of our expectations, believing that faithfulness acts as a shield against profound loss. However, when the foundation crumbles, as it did for Elena through the devastation of an unwanted divorce, the resulting wreckage often leads to a dark night of the soul, where doubt replaces devotion and silence replaces prayer. The shattering of the ideal. For Elena, divorce was not just a legal dissolution, it was a theological crisis. Having spent over a decade building a life centered on her marriage and her faith, the departure of her husband felt like a public failure of God's promises. She had prayed the right prayers and claimed the right scriptures, yet she found herself sitting in a quiet house, staring at a future that looked like a void. The devastation of divorce is unique because it carries the weight of rejection and the death of a shared vision. In this state, it is natural to doubt the sovereignty of a creator who allows such pain. Elena found herself echoing the ancient lament of the Psalms, asking why the wicked seemed to prosper while her own world was reduced to ash. In her eyes, God's plan had failed. The midpoint, faith in the vacuum. The turning point in Elena's journey did not come through a sudden miracle, but through the slow, agonizing process of surrender. When we lose everything we rely on, we are forced to confront the reality of our own strength, or the lack thereof. Elena began to realize that her doubt was not an enemy of her faith, but a bridge to a deeper one. In the vacuum left by her husband's absence, she began to hear a still, small voice that had been drowned out by the noise of her previous life. She started to see that God's silence was not an absence of action, but a period of profound internal reconstruction. True restoration often looks different than we imagine. As Elena stopped fighting to regain her old life, she noticed divine coincidences beginning to take shape. A job opportunity provided for her exactly when her savings ran out. A new community of friends offered a level of transparency she had never experienced in her marriage, and a newfound sense of self-worth began to bloom from the ruins of her rejection. God taking control did not mean reversing the divorce, it meant redeeming it. He took the broken pieces of her identity and forged a woman who was no longer defined by her marital status, but by her resilience and her direct connection to the divine. She realized that while man has the free will to walk away, God has the sovereignty to ensure that nothing is wasted. Conclusion: the beauty of the redirection. Ultimately, Elena's story is a testament to the fact that God's plan is often found in the very places we fear most. The divorce, while painful, became the severe mercy that stripped away her idols and forced her to stand on a foundation that could not be shaken by human hands. She learned that God does not always stop the storm, but He is the master of the aftermath. By taking control of her healing, her purpose, and her future, He turned a story of abandonment into a narrative of profound liberation. Elena discovered that even when we lose our way, we are never lost to Him, we are simply being redirected toward a glory we couldn't have seen from our original path.